Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Hi, it's me, spiritual medium, psychotherapist, and author, Kellee White. Well, am I happy to be here? I almost didn't make it. I went as fast as I could. I did something out of my comfort zone, Laura Crum. I did something out of my comfort zone, which I will tell you, and but I made it back to the farm in time and intact. Let me say hi to a few people and got lots to talk about today. Hi, Rick East. Good afternoon. Good evening. And you've been encountering a variety of animals over the last several weeks. Isn't that interesting? A big bullfrog and an egret and a spotted owl. So I would say along those lines, transformation. Transformation. I love it when that starts to happen like that. Hi, Melissa. She says the human can indeed hold and express the energy that as a form of communication or spiritual messages in a broader sense. Yes, we can do that. Yes. Hi, Renee Rossiter. How are you? Oh, I'm so happy to see you, honey. Hi, Leslie. Cool weather. I know. How wild is that? I'm in Wisconsin, and it was a lot cooler today. A lot cooler. And yes, when I get a chance, I'll come back and get you a card, Leslie. Hi, Angela. Hi, Carolyn East. She says, I'm loving your app. Thank you, Carolyn. I am too. And I'm so excited that you're part of that. And I will be talking about if anybody wants to join our spiritual community for that. I'm loving the app too. And I'm really excited to have our first, it's Friday somewhere at 5 o'clock, somewhere on a Friday. I'm excited about that in a couple of weeks. Hi, Toby. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Margie and Stacy and Donna. And the Children's School of Yoga. Yes, namaste and happy Black New Moon. And we are going to be talking about the Black New Moon. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Jean. Yes, this is going to be a great, great topic. And I will hopefully we'll get some droplets from God. If Mavis Patilla is listening, that was her great book, Droplets of God. It's a wonderful book. If you haven't had a chance to look at it or read it, it was really great. Hi, Tammy, and hi, Laura, and hi, Sandy. From the Valley. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Evie and Linda and Pamela and Vivian from Ontario, Canada. Yay. Hi, Rose and Linda. Oh, I love the yellow glads too. Thank you. I love gladiolas. And my store in Wisconsin doesn't always have them. So when they do, I just go kind of berserk and get them in every color that I can. So thank you for noticing that. So let's talk about, we're going to talk about this energy. But first, I just want to mention I did something out of my comfort zone. And normally, like when I work very hard. I work Wednesday, Thursdays, Fridays, and occasionally on a Saturday. And I was asked to come to, one of my doctors was having a special event where she'd been in business for 25 years, and she was having this special event, and it was in Madison. And she asked me if I would come and do readings. Now, that's not normally something that I do, really. I mean, yes, I do readings, but not in that context, actually. I don't really do that, but I really like her, and I really like the staff, and I've been going there for quite some time, and so I said yes. Now, typically, I'm the person that says no first, and then I might change my mind. I worked really hard on boundaries. Plus, I don't know, it's because I live so far away. I don't know. It's just like, everything is just like, do I really want to do it? But seriously, was thinking yesterday, okay, Kellee, you're going to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to get totally out of your comfort zone. And then Laura Crum on our app was just beautiful. I loved how this was, Laura. You had talked about getting out of your own comfort zone and how in life you get out of your comfort zone, really to make a shift. And it was so funny because that day, like literally an hour before that, I was thinking, okay, Kellee, you're going to get out of your comfort zone and you're going to do something a little different. So it was just great validation for me to see that, Laura. And I really, really appreciated it at that exact moment. So I did get out of my comfort zone, and I did do what I said I was going to do. I drove to Madison, and I I did a bunch of readings, and I met a couple of women. One woman that was so extraordinary. She'd had a near-death experience, and she really wanted to tell me all about it. And it was a profound one. It was so profound. I mean, they're all profound, near-death experience, but this one was just beautiful, the way she was telling the story about what had happened to her. And I hope she does write a book about it, because it was so good. And interesting enough, it took place in the same hospital that I had been in, where I had 3 surgeries, because the first surgery went wrong in August of 2022. Second surgery went wrong, and then I had the third surgery. So she was telling me she had actually had a horrific experience, and it was at the same hospital. But it was right when COVID was booming, like in the first 2 months, and there was so much fear going on that they actually left her without thinking, probably because I think fear was so huge. And she had a horrific situation and ended up literally leaving her body. I had a literally near-death experience. I mean, died and came back. And we were both talking about the fear of during that COVID time. And I said to myself, isn't that interesting? That's when I had, 2 years later, I had my surgery there. And I could feel the fear in the air then at that time too. So it was just a fascinating thing for me. And then I met another woman who was a psychologist who had worked with psychopathy, so sociopaths and psychopaths. And it was fascinating. So I am glad I took that leap of faith, got out of my comfort zone. I'm glad I did it. And it was interesting. Anyway, let's talk, before I get into the subject, which we have a really good subject tonight, which we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about the astrology for right now, because most people are feeling this energy, and it's, again, it's not the same as energy as we had before. That was like a gripping intensity. But this is what I would call a high stress time. And so many people are coming to me with high stress. When we talk about it, they're real things. They're real life things that are happening that cause a lot of stress. So we want to really watch because with stress, it goes right into the body. So we really want to watch our stress. And we have a new moon on August 23rd. Interesting. It's on James's birthday, August 23rd. So James Van Prague's birthday is August 23rd. And the new moon in Vedic astrology is in Leo. And I always say to James, you're not a Virgo, you're a Leo. But anyway, those kind of things die hard. So the new moon in Leo, it's in the nakshatra Magha. Now, you guys have heard me talk about that nakshatra, because that nakshatra is actually Donald Trump's nakshatra. He's got a Leo rising, and it's in the nakshatra called Magha, which, no pun intended. I mean, that's kind of interesting, right? But this nakshatra Magha means the king. It means power. It means looking also at our ancestors. So it's a very interesting new moon. It's a black new moon. And let me explain that before I get into this new moon, of what it means. Because a black moon is not, it's unusual. It means that the event falls under like a seasonal definition, if you will. It's the third new moon in a season. That a season would contain 4 new moons. That's one way to view it. There's also another definition of a black moon that refers to the second new moon in a single month. So, and the next time this occurs is August 31st of 2027. So 2 more years from now, we'll have this again. So it's very rare. So if we go back to this new moon in Leo and in the nakshatra Magha, at the same time, this new moon is, let me see, how do I say this? Uranus is squaring the new moon. So Uranus is the planet of shock and surprise and earth events. So like earthquakes or sudden things, sudden shifts in the earth. And it also will be squaring the sun And it's on the fixed star Regulus, which is the heart of the lion and loyalties and leaders. And so during this time, there will be certain fated events. And I think that's why people are feeling some sort of stress or tension, because it's not just, it's personally in many cases, but it's also globally. And I would say it's karmic globally. And I think that there's a certain fate with this, because this moon is also, it is around Saturn and Neptune, because Saturn and Neptune are traveling together. In fact, I have that free app about looking into the sky. And I was doing it yesterday, and I saw Saturn and Neptune literally on top of each other. And then I saw Pluto. And Pluto you don't see very often. But Pluto is like death and transformation. It's very, very serious. And so when these three together, well, and you add Uranus to that mix, this could be an explosive time. It means that it's also like, it means like transformation. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's transformation, it's change, it's things that seem maybe impossible to change, maybe personally and globally. It actually could change. Even if you think to yourself, no, this situation could never change. But you'd be surprised, because this also has, the Maga has to do with the ancestral spirits. And so on this new moon, which is Saturday, if you really wanted to think about, your life and in terms of the ancestors, this is an extraordinary new moon to take action with ancestral trauma, because many of you have come in to break the pattern or to change the course, which doesn't mean it is easy. Being a pattern breaker is rough. It's not easy. But this particular new moon, it has guidance actually with the ancestral realm. So anybody who's doing ancestor.com or whatever that is, if you're doing any of that, looking into your ancestors, whoa, what a powerful new moon to ask them, for forgiveness, or maybe they're wanting forgiveness or compassion for what they would have gone through, and anything like that, because I think it's just very important, this ancestral line. I remember years ago when my daughter Holiday was 5 years old, and she was in kindergarten, and she was in a play about the Mayflower, and kindergarten, and she's in the play about the Mayflower. And I said to her, "Oh, tell your teacher," I'm telling this to a 5-year-old, "tell your teacher that your family, your ancestors were on the Mayflower." And she said, "Okay, mommy." And she went. And then I got a phone call from the teacher who asked me to come in for a meeting. That's right. And I was like, "Oh my God, what did my daughter do? Like, what's going to happen here?" So I go in, and the teacher says to me, "Holiday insists that her sister is on the Mayflower." And this was literally what I said. She doesn't have a sister. Not that she wasn't on the Mayflower. She doesn't have a sister. And then I realized, oh my God, I said, no, I was talking about, oh my gosh, it was her ancestors. So I have a feeling, now even just thinking about that story cracks me up. But if we all look at our ancestral trail from wherever it may be, from here to there, they're going to help us during this new moon. This is a really fascinating new moon because, yes, it can bring a lot of stress. I have found more people that have started blood pressure medication in the last couple of weeks than I've heard in a long time. So this is a stressful time, and it has to do with deep transformation. But if we look at it from a place of, if you want to put your crystals out, do it with the intent of helping you, your family, and your ancestors with releasing trauma, with working through traumas. It's the best thing that you can do, because in a few days from then, Ganesh, I believe it's Lord Ganesh's birthday, the deity from India that looks like an elephant with all of the hands and feet and everything that goes out. I believe it's the celebration of Ganesh in 3 or 4 days from this new moon. And that's a really powerful time because Ganesh moves obstacles, even the most insane obstacles that you might think, oh, this will never get resolved. Oh, yes, things will get resolved. This is a time period of getting things moved and done. Okay, so, and it also is a time to look at the shadow, because when Pluto enters everything, it really is looking at your shadow, looking at the world's shadow. Shadow is here. And then, because that's not enough, this new moon kind of kicks open the 2 eclipses, and it really makes an energy towards that first eclipse, which is a total lunar eclipse on September 7th. So we will be talking greatly about that next week. And then we have the solar eclipse. It's a partial eclipse, but we have that on September 21. So if your birthday, I'm going to take a big leap here. If your birthday is between September 23rd and probably that first week in October, often that realm right there many of them are healers in that period of time, and those eclipses are going to affect change in your life. So this is a really great time to look at forgiveness, especially on this new moon. It's quite extraordinary, but I think we're going to see some big change here. I do. I think we're going to see a lot of new change. So some of the things that you can do is, especially on this new moon, is start something new. If you wanted to start something new, the things to start new, normally I would say a business, and I'm not saying that this time. Now it's more like spiritual practices, maybe making an ancestral connection, honoring your lineage through prayer or through photos or through storytelling. Storytelling is a great one. It's a great one. It's also a great time to study ancient wisdom, which I think is my favorite thing. Try to stay away from power clashes or power struggles. It's not a time to launch like some major campaign that you're about to do. It just isn't. So this is really about reclaiming the throne within, if you will. That's what Maga is, represents the throne. So reclaiming your own energy and your own dignity and your own essence of who you are. So it's really a powerful one. This is a big one. So there, I wanted to go through that, and let's see, what else? We're going to talk a little bit about the energy of illness, because I think it's a big one. And the energy of illness, can the body hold spiritual messages? Yes. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about, how unresolved grief and trauma can manifest physically. So let's start with this. Let's see. I have a lot of things to say. I think I'm going to start over here. So, grief holds a lot. Grief holds a lot. And when we have grief or trauma, and sometimes grief and trauma go right together, the energy does show up physically. It does. It just does. Doesn't have to, but often it does. You'll see sadness, you'll see depression. But is it possible, though, for your body to hold emotional truths, which is really kind of interesting, that your mind has not processed yet? And yes, absolutely, because the concept is like body memories, or we will say, you've heard probably many therapists say this, and there's a book on it, the body keeps the score, the body holds the somatic memories here. And so what happens is trauma has a big impact on the mind and on the body, and traumatic experience can deeply impact the body, the mind, and they can linger long after the event. When I was at that event today, there was a man that came in to see me, and he was a 9 of spades. His birthday was March 1st. So I said, well, how has trauma affected you? Because 9 of spades is heavy duty. They call that the end of my last lifetime. Because a 9, anybody who's a 9 comes in to complete a cycle. 9 of spades really brings in from every past life all kinds of stuff to deal with. And I said to him, just simply, because this guy was a non-believer in any of this, and I said, so how did your trauma go? And he goes, I thought he was going to start to cry, actually. I don't think anybody had ever addressed it like that. And he said, I was hit by a car. He was jogging and he was hit by a car, and he thought he was dead. He thought he had died. And I walked him through the trauma cycle of that. And it was in 2019. But you could see the effects of the trauma. Trauma is stored in the body. And so I had to gently say this in a way that his ego could hear it, because he really needed to get some help with this. So trauma absolutely registers within the body on a cellular level. So what happens is we will have like repressed emotions and on the nervous system. And it's from like pushing things aside. Like a lot of people will, they go through grief or through trauma and they'll push it aside because they're trying to survive. Oh, thank you, Mari. So she says it's so relatable what I'm talking about. Thank you, honey. I appreciate that. Thank you. And what happens is when you repress any of that and you push it aside, it has to come out somewhere. It's mind, body, and soul. It's got to come out somewhere. So it can come out as chronic stress, actually, and that would be resulted from these emotions that you've led, that can lead to inflammation. Huge for inflammation, and it absolutely affects your immune health. So, and some of the somatic experiences or some of the somatic manifestations can be chronic pain. So like headaches. Sometimes if people they'll say to me, well, I get migraines. And I'll say, oh, okay, who are you angry at? What? What are you talking about? Who are you angry at? Or what are you angry about? And if we really go through that, well, I've had to take care of this one for a long time, and you have resentment, and it's okay. This is non-judgmental, but it's playing out in the body when you can't release stuff. Back pain, you're carrying too much. We had somebody that was supposed to be helping us with the house whose back went out. This poor person had gone through an awful lot in her life, tremendous amount. I think the back just was enough. She couldn't carry anymore. Muscle tension is a big one. And that's why you'll do these like different types of meditations where you release the tension in the body. You go, part by part, or parts of your body by, slowly to feel the tension and release it. Where are you carrying the tension? Is it on the left side? The dad? Is it on the right side? The mom? It's always one of those. Are you having fatigue? Are you having sleep disturbances? So we need to look at that. Are you having gastrointestinal issues? So if you may recall, a year ago, actually it was October 2nd of last year, during the full solar eclipse, I had emergency gallbladder surgery, seriously. And it was such a drag because I'd gone to the hospital 3 times and I was sent home. And then on the 4th time, I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I have to be here. I'm just going to die. I'm going to explode. It was pretty awful, but I had a great doctor. It was the wildest thing. So, but that gastrointestinal, holding on to a lot of things. So I've had to really learn not to pick up everybody else's stuff, especially when you do this kind of work. It's a constant. James and I have this conversation all the time, about, not picking up other people's stuff, because we hear deep stories. I hear deep stories. It's amazing what people have gone through. It's amazing. Just blows me away. Anyway, the body has wisdom here. And so the body may be trying to communicate through some of these physical sensations. It's almost like a silent language, if you will, about unresolved emotional experiences. So if you are having any of these things that we're talking about, you might want to look into becoming a little conscious of what's going on in your life, you know. And addressing some of these things can really be a pathway to understanding the underlying emotions. And I think it's a really good time to be doing that, especially given astrologically the new moon. It would be excellent for doing this. So it's a good thing to do. So how does unresolved grief and trauma manifest physically? Again, it can look like fatigue. I'm so tired. And if you are in grief, you're going to be tired, and you're going to have low energy. You may be depressed. We call it situationally depressed. There's a reason for it. If it were underlying your whole life, that's a different conversation. But maybe the grief or loss exacerbated that. But it's fatigue and low energy, and that trauma and grief, that can absolutely disrupt sleep patterns. And it's the body's stress response actually to the nervous system in a heightened state, and that can be making it really difficult to relax. It also comes up in digestive issues, and that would be stomach aches or nausea or IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or acid reflux, because that would go along with inflammation. What are you carrying? What in your family dynamic are you carrying? All of this. Who in your family had said situations? So you may be carrying other people's stuff along with your own. So you might, in grief, often there are sleep disturbances. I mean, it can cause insomnia. It can be where you just want to sleep. I remember when my mother died, I didn't know if I was here or there. It was a really awful, weird experience. I really went down fast, I think. And I think it made me wildly depressed. And then I came back to life again. So there's a time in this. I had a session today, not a session, actually, it was one of the people that walked in when I was doing these readings for a woman, and immediately I saw her mother come in. And I said to her, "Did you fairly recently lose your mother?" She said, "I lost her 2 weeks ago." I said, "How are you doing?" And she just burst into tears. And it's a whole process. You watch the process. And I told her some of the things to look for. And, this is a hard thing. But also, changes in appetite happen in trauma and they happen in grief. Some people can't eat and all they want to do is sleep and they don't want to eat. Nothing appeals to them. And again, that could be situational. And some people just want to eat because it helps them. So you also want to look at things like breathing patterns. Has your breathing changed? And so there are energetic and emotional roots behind illness and chronic symptoms. Okay. So, and how does your body reflect the messages from spirit or your subconscious? Really, I would say from spirit. Is it will hit your body, may be reflecting it through intuition and gut feelings. So during some of these periods, you want to pay attention, always actually, not some of them, always pay attention to your intuition or your gut feeling. It's very important that you do that. And sometimes you might feel things like tingles, like you might feel like something intuition hit. You'd be like, I have tingles on this. And that would be your body and your soul, and the information coming through is correct. Okay, so you have to pay attention to that. But there is a connection between spiritual disconnection, if you will, and long-term health issues. So it's always important, to pay attention to depression, anxiety, because those can be a lack of spiritual well-being. And that's always something that plays out as anxiety or depression and a sense of hopelessness. You want to look for that, and of course there are wonderful therapists out there in all kinds of ways, spiritually to get your vital life force back up again. I think that's really important. So Anne Margaret says, hi, Anne Margaret, how are you doing? She says, I am drained at the end of the day from work and patience with trauma, anxiety, and stress. So she says, talk about protecting yourselves at work. So Anne Margaret, that's a great question. So what you want to do for sure is you want to be really conscious of what's yours and what's somebody else's. And you want to set boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Okay? You go in, you give a certain, I look at it as energy in the bank. How much energy can I put out for the day? Okay? That's how literally how I do this. So you want to protect yourself by, if I have this much energy for the day, how will I allot it? And you have a great mind, Anne Margaret, so you figure out how would you allot it. And if you can see somebody or some trauma is taking too much energy, go take a break. Go drink some water, wash your hands, stop what you're doing, and really be very conscious of the energy in the bank there. And then stop when you're supposed to stop. Don't stay an extra whatever, leave. You have to always be conscious of that. Yes, we can say put a mirror around you and put white light around you, and I could certainly say all of that. But on a practical end, step outside, get some good sunlight, wash your hands, splash water around, kind of do this, take a break, take more breaks, as many breaks as you can, listen to music, jazz yourself up again, and go back. But don't pick up on everybody's stuff. Do not do it. Then you have to really get very understanding of who you are and the value you bring to something, and that your soul needs a break. Okay, that's really, I think, probably some of the best thing that you can do. Go in the room, shut the door, get your own peace. Look at something funny. That sometimes helps too. To break that. So I think that those are some good ideas here. And always remember, you all have a sense of purpose and meaning. Always remember that. No matter what it is, you have a purpose and a meaning out there. It's important to remember that. So, and some of the intuitive and the holistic approaches to healing the mind and the body and soul, it's, first of all, yoga is great, acupuncture is great, visualization is great. Chakras, working with chakras and aura cleansings. I mean, anything you can think of that's spiritual, just hop on in. There are homeopathic remedies that are fabulous out there that help with grief. Ignatia is a great one for, that's the right, am I saying it right? Yeah, Ignatia is great for grief if you are in deep grief. Obviously, talk to your doctor about that. Go find a homeopathic doctor. Homeopaths are fabulous, and they work on a completely different level. They work with your vital life force. So between that and a good therapist, there are some wonderful healings that can happen. And particularly right now, we're in a time of healing, a big time of healing. So I hope that helps. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions, but first I want to say that if you go to my website, and if you go to the events page at kelleewhite.com, you're going to find that I have the following classes and events. I have an unusual crystal class in October with Shauna McDowell, and it's going to be really fun because we're going to be talking about the magic and the power of unusual crystals. And you know what, Anne Margaret? Put a crystal in your purse or in your pocket. I carry crystals around with me all the time. They actually help. I also have an All Souls retreat in November. It's not mine. It's actually Jen Weigel's, and it's going to be so fun. I'm going to be speaking there. I'm going to be a guest speaker there. And also in September, I can't remember the exact day, but I have the Power of 10. And so it's a unique chance for 10 minutes of one-on-one connection with me. And it's in a really powerful group setting. We just had one the other day. It was really powerful. There's always different themes that come up, and oh my gosh, everyone is powerful, but boy, oh boy. So please, if you feel the energy to do that, I have space now for September. And I should look at the date of that because I don't remember the exact date of that. It is September 13th, okay? Right in between the eclipses. What could happen? Who knows? And also on September 11th, I'm going to predict that I will be joined by the legendary James Van Prague for a special fall prediction show. And we have a huge announcement that you won't want to miss, which I'm so excited about. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about so many things here. And don't forget that I have this new app now, and it's a subscription community, and it's called Whispers from the Soul. So if you go to my website, you'll find exclusive journals on there and meditations, and we have a learning library. We have daily affirmations to help guide your journey. And then we have, and then I have astrology per day. So every day you'll be able to look at the astrology, and I'll give you, I'm using numerology and the destiny card and the sun. I think you'll like it a lot. And then I have this thing, it's called It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we're going to gather on Fridays, and we're going to have mocktail recipes too, which is going to be very cool. I will not be drinking a mocktail. I will be drinking a cocktail. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we're going to have some surprise guests that hop on. But it's just a way of connecting on a Friday after work. How you doing? How was your week? Spill. I'll show you parts of my house that, I'll probably be in my kitchen a lot. I'll be outside, especially when it gets to fall. It's so beautiful. Well, it's beautiful right now, too. It's really beautiful. Anyway, it's really a great way to keep me at your fingertips if you'd like. And it's to connect with this amazing spiritual community. And I read all the comments. I always hop on, and I like to look and see and how everybody's doing. And so anyway, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And so now I'm going to answer some questions. And Nancy Dominic, God bless you. I'm going to answer your question first. She says, I want an honest answer, Kellee. What are your thoughts on heaven? She said, I'm going through a bad time. So Nancy, I'm sorry you're going through a bad time. I am going to get you a card first. But heaven exists. And heaven exists. I promise you, you'll see your husband again. I've got chills everywhere. Heaven exists. It's an extraordinary energetic place. And as I was talking to the woman today that I met who had had a near-death experience, we were sharing our experiences of heaven. And her energy, she said, she has great words to describe it. It was a very ethereal, the way she described it. But she's kept saying, the love of everyone is so present, such great love there. So it's different here. It's here we, separate this or separate that person, but in actuality, it's only love per each soul is equally of equal value and love. And I love that. And it's just a great reminder about things. But Nancy, I'm going to get you a card, honey, because I know you're missing your husband here. Oh, you've got a good sense of humor. I'm standing right next to you. Yay. I love that. And Laura Crum, she says, Kellee, with the rare black moon on Saturday, August 23rd, the one I was just talking about, can we make moon water? I don't think I would, actually, but set your intentions. You can set your crystals out, certainly, and do it with the intention. And I know, Laura, your intentions are so pure, and they're all about the healing for your family and healing for others. Put it out with the healing of the ancestral line that you want to work with, that you want to heal, and set your crystals out with that. It would be amazing. And the other thing about this new moon, have the only positive thoughts on that day, because on a new moon, everything is magnified. And as I said, we're going into this eclipse. We are in eclipse season right now. And so keep the most positive thoughts. That new job is coming. That new love is here. That my life is blah, 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 fill in the blank. Positive. My family is healthy. I am healthy. Okay, whatever it is, make sure you pop positivity into that brain. It's really important for that, okay? So, and yes, it's a really good time to reprogram your subconscious. Absolutely. And any illness that lurks in your body is a great time for that, Laura. Great question. And Danielle Thrush says, my birthday is 126, so January 26 is an ace of diamonds. Ace of diamonds often will say for love or for money. Sometimes they just really work really hard and they miss out on the love situation, or they don't have the most positive, or they get love later in life, or they choose love over work. So I'm not sure where you would fall in that, but there you go. And let's see. So Winnie Shelley says, Kelly, I would love a card on my healing spiritual path. Oh, let's see. So let's get you a card from the angels, Shelley. How's that? I love these angel number cards. I have to just, I have to shuffle them. Hold on a second. Let's see. Here we go. Ooh. 5151, optimism. 5151, optimism. Be as optimistic. It's really what I was saying. Be as optimistic as possible for everybody. I think that's going to be really, really important here. Allison says, I love it when you start loving yourself and accepting yourself, and rad stuff happens energetically. Oh, Allison, I don't think I could say it any better. For that, you get a card. I've got chills. I'm so glad you said that. Ooh, 2222. The ultimate love. Twin flame. The ultimate, as they say. Wow. Ooh, Megan saw an owl in the tree last night. So owls represent the female psychic, and it means transformation. It means wisdom. And this new moon, and Rick East, if you're listening and you saw that moon, I'd be reading all about and learning about ancient wisdom. Ancient wisdom. I think it's really, really important here. Ancient wisdom. Kathy Zuniak, she said, my 17-year-old cat passed on Sunday night with me holding him. Oh, my heart is broken. Is he around me? Oh, he is. I know he's on the other bridge. I was going to say he's with your husband, Kathy. Oh, I got chills. He definitely is there. He's there with your husband. Oh my God, and his brother. Oh, Kathy, I just get that you did the best for him, that he just loves you. Oh my gosh. Interesting card for you. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, honey. That's amazing. Thank you for letting us know, Kathy. Okay. Oh, thank you, Laura, for saying that. Gladiolas mean little sword. I did not know that, but I love that. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I want to get to this question. Now, Frank, this is for you. I had to take a picture of it because I was running so late from my car to get here to do this. But he wrote this to me and he said, Kelly, he wanted to share this. He said, I've enclosed a picture to ask my understanding of what happened here. So what happened is there's a double glass door and it's very heavy and the wind or a breeze will not make it close. Okay. However, 2 weeks ago, the door slammed shut and woke us up. That's the whole key right there. Woke you up. Okay, I did a walkthrough of the house and found that this door closed tightly. It's normally open and hardly ever closed. It leads into my bedroom. So let me give you a take on that. I would say you are waking up. I mean, a glass door shutting it didn't shatter. I've had people that said to me, Kelly, what does this mean? The glass door shattered. You know, it's probably not the best sign. It means a lot of change, a lot of energy. It just exploded. In this case, I think it's all about waking up and making some big choices, big decisions, things like that. I think that's really, to me, Frank, what it represents there. But it's a good one. Oh, Michelle says, I just saw that on the app. Highly recommend. Oh, good. Thank you, Michelle. So sweet. Denise says, congratulations for getting out of your comfort zone. I've been trying to also. Okay, if I can do it, Denise, you can do it. I mean, I really feel that. And let me get you a card from the angels, Denise. Ooh, 427, authenticity. I think we had this before. Authenticity. Be authentically you and move out of your way. I think it's in period. Barbara says, isn't it ironic that you two were in the same hospital? Barbara, I thought the same thing that when I was talking earlier about this woman that I met tonight. It's funny how that works. Had I not gotten out of my comfort zone, she answered a lot of questions that had been on my mind from that experience 3 years ago. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, Jen Garney, high stress. Oh, you take your daughter back to college tomorrow. It's going to be a long, oh, Jen, let's get you a card, honey. Let's get you a card. Ooh, 4141, habit. So maybe in your case, the habit here, you're going to be changing your habits, Jen. You're going to be changing your habits. Okay, I think that is true. Um, Melissa says it's also true that aligning with the idea that the body holds important messages. Yes, that's very, very important here. Oh my gosh. Patty Morris says, Kellee, my grandson is such a mess right now. When will he get it together? He and his mom have such an awful arguments. Well, let's see here. That's a good question. When will he get it together here? You know, when he does, he will. He will. That is a powerful birth placement, and it goes with the mother on that one. It goes literally along with the mother. So I think they have a lot of issues to work through, but you know what? They will. They will work through things, Patty. It's a hard one, isn't it? Don't you just wish everybody could get along? That is when we are in heaven. Everybody gets along. We come here, and it's just an intense energy. Okay, but people are here to work out everything. People are here to work things out. So I think that is what will happen. Um, okay, Annie says, I read today that we discovered North Korea has a new secret nuclear base with intentions. Oh my gosh, for the U.S. Wow. You know, Annie, I think a lot of things will be revealed. It's a silly word to use, but I think it means a lot. I do. These are some really fierce energies that are headed, that will be around. But it is a really good time to, again, work on your own traumas, to work on your own issues, to work on your own ancestral traumas even. So yes, Charlene, you can put your crystals out, but put them out. Yeah, I haven't put mine out either for the last couple of full moons. But this is a new moon, and you don't want to put them out during this lunar eclipse, and that's on September 7th. You do not want to put your crystals out for that. Put them out for this, but set the intention for healing. I think healing would be the greatest thing that you could do. Okay, Lisa Kupka says, can I have a card because I have a busy weekend? Yes, 303. Ooh, forgiveness. Interesting. I'm wondering about forgiveness now. Okay, Susie Burrows. Hi, Susie. How are you, my friend? My body is feeling like my guts have been carved out. Feeling like a Jenga game that if someone pulls a piece out, it will collapse. Shallow breathing. Zero desire to eat. Okay, Susie, we need to talk. The feeling that absolutely nothing will make you feel better. Walking mechanically because you have to get from room to room. That's what my grief is feeling like. Oh, honey, I am so sorry that you're going through your grief like that. That is grief. That is how grief feels. I'm so sorry. And your birthday is 5/19. 5/19 is that King of Clubs. Oh, your boy. My boy is 5/19. Oh, I was going to say, didn't remember your birthday being that. But that is the King of Clubs. So what has happened to your son? You have to let me know. Honey, let me get you a card. Did something happen to your son? You have to let me know, Susie. Okay. Interesting. 66, revisit. So maybe revisit me, Susie. So I'd like to know what's going on over there. Okay. What's going on our planet, Evie? A lot of transformation, a lot of change, a lot of transformation. Ooh, hi, Shanley. Oh my God, I'm so glad. I love Shanley. Shanley has the most interesting background. She was a nurse, like a major nurse, and she's a lawyer. It's like amazing. And she's a master healer, this gal. All right, Shanley. And we both lost our mothers. Like, bum, bum, bum. And then also, not just us, it was another friend of ours too that did, which was such a drag, all of us at the same time. Ooh, 2020 bonds. We do have bonds. Oh my gosh. And her boyfriend, spouse, is Bill, who does my introduction here. And Bill's an incredible musician. And he and Don, they were all with, and Brenda and Larry, they were all with Neil Diamond together. So I love you so much, Shannon. I'm looking forward to you guys coming and visiting soon. Hi, Barb. Yes, Shelley, people are having a lot of heart surgeries, and I do feel it's here to help them with course correction. Yeah, especially with this Leo energy. Leo's in the sun in Vedic astrology, it's in Leo right now. And it's in Leo until the 17th of September. So if your birthday is like from the 16th or 17th, I think it was the 16th of August to the 17th of September, that's Leo. And Leo's all about the heart. And also that new moon is in Leo. And it's in just the heart right there of heart situations. And so I feel, here's the thing too, if you haven't dealt with your own emotions, a lot of people, this happens, they feel it in their heart. So yeah, it could be a huge course correction. Absolutely. So good question here. And Margaret says that star app is amazing. I know, right? I love that. And you can see it says every zodiac sign. And Margaret, can you put the name of that app in? Because I can't remember that. So Annie says it's a change for good. Yeah, it's a change. All changes end up ultimately to put us on our right path of where we're supposed to be. So yes, that's what I think. So if chronic pain, if you have, and Mrs. Shai Pono says, what about chronic pain? And the message of chronic pain is, where is the pain? Where is it? Is it in the leg? Is it in your whole body? What's going on emotionally? Let's look at what's going on emotionally here. And often, chronic pain, if you cannot get the words out, figure it out, homeopathy, classically trained homeopathists would be a great place to start, because homeopathy believes that you are a plant, a mineral, or an animal, and that you vibrate to something in nature, and it lifts your vital life force. So chronic pain is you're holding on to something, where you abused, where you something, mother, father. You have to think like that. Okay, you have to think like that. Okay. It said, somebody wrote to me and says, whenever I'm thinking about past trauma, or if I'm triggered from it, especially when it has to do with family dynamics, I always get a pinched nerve on my right side, on my right shoulder. So a pinched nerve on the right shoulder, right side is mother. Is there a problem with your mom? I mean, it's okay if there is. And you might say, no, it wasn't her. Okay. Is there a female in your life? What happened here? Because something is happening. Oh, Teresa says, I had my first panic attack in my early 20s, where I ended up in the ER. I'm so sorry. After counseling, I realized it was unresolved grief from losing my aunt when I was 15. Yes, Teresa, you had a great therapist. So panic attacks tell us what's going on. They literally will tell us what's going on. And often the panic is so great that you can't even, you can't think. But a good therapist will do that. It's called Skyview, and it's free. Skyview free is the name of the app. The plus version wants money. Yeah, mine was free, so it's just called Skyview. I stood on the beach, slowly went in a circle, and every darn zodiac popped up. See, it'll show you in Vedic astrology terms, actually, of where the planets and the stars actually are. And she said, I saw shooting meteors. That's so cool. It's such a great one. I love that. Oh my gosh. Jackie says, I lost my aunt, uncle, brother, in 2 kids in a 10-year span. Jackie, honey, that's too much. Excuse me. It's way too much. I'm sorry, Jackie, that you've had that kind of stress in your life. Let me get you a card from this. It says, ooh, one thing about it, Jackie, is they will always point you in the right direction. They'll always point you in the right direction there. That's a great card there. Oh my God. And Lori Letterby says, I'm in my 2nd week of EMDR therapy. Fantastic. So EMDR therapy is it's a form of therapy that helps us with trauma. There's somatic experience, there's EMDR, and got to do the work to get better. You do. And when you've had a lot of trauma, EMDR is very good. Somatic therapy is very good. There are techniques out there. Back in the day, they didn't have that, but they have stuff now that's really, really great for this. Yeah, and Margaret talks about the cause of IBS. Yeah, that it absolutely has to do with stress of everything. Oh my gosh. So, okay, Julie says, would you say that there's a generational trauma that shows up in a family history of heart issues? 100%, Julie. 100%. Yeah. You'll see cancer will line up, heart disease will line up. Yeah, until somebody makes different choices of maybe how they are taking care of themselves, or they're just making shifts. We all have to pass of something, but I do see it in family generational situations here, definitely. And sleep apnea too. Sleep apnea is a big one. And that can be huge, Leslie, with inflammation in the body and stress and being maybe overweight. And even if you're not overweight, sleep apnea can be there. But it has a lot to do with inflammation in the system. So yeah, and emotional conflict. Oh yeah, for sure. Shelley Winnie says, I'm working on releasing grief and anger from my parents' divorce 40 years ago. First of all, Shelley, bravo. Isn't it interesting that you're doing it now? It's a huge deal. They're both in spirit, and they told me to pull it out of my body and give it to them so they don't have to carry it anymore. It's really true. I mean, we carry such nonsense stuff that we just don't need to carry anymore. I mean, just really be clear maybe this weekend about your life. Wait, are you angry at this person? Are you angry at this parent? Are you angry at this sibling? Were you abused? Look at this. This is an extraordinary time period to do that. Lynn Gert says, oh my God, I have gallstones and the doctors want to take my gallbladder. I'm going to tell you what, Lynn, greatest thing that ever happened. I am very happy that I had it done, that I had the gallbladder surgery done. Seriously. And I didn't even know anything about the gallbladder. Probably don't know much now, other than it needed to go. And I was working with Prajna Avalon, who's a great healer. She said to me, Kellee, this I don't fool around with. You go right out and get that out. Yes, allergies too, absolutely can be affected. Absolutely can be affected. Susie says, the feeling that you will never get out of the darkness. Oh, honey, it is that way. It does feel that way. And yet there is light at the end of that tunnel there, Susie. Okay. What Gail says, the depression I was in from my mom's death sent my liver and kidneys into a nosedive. I got out of it healed, and I'm much better than I've been in years. I'm really, really glad. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm really glad. Jackie says she only eats one meal a day from trauma. I believe it. Oh, David, listening from the artist community of Carrizozo, New Mexico. I don't know if I said that right, David, but welcome. I'm really glad you did. A lot of people are going through so much. Jamie lost her cat, and oh my God. Susie said, how do you protect yourself from the feeling that you could snap at any moment? Well, Susie, here's what I do. I snap. I let it out. I do. After a long time of thought, I do. I let it fly. I snap away. You can snap away. It's better than holding it in. It's okay, Susie. You need to snap away. Okay. All right, everybody. Listen, I've got to run, but it was great to see everybody. Go to my website, kelleewhite.com. I still have some sessions left, I think, for next week, like Wednesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday. I can't remember. And my calendar in September is now open. So if you would like a session with me, please sign up and look at my app. And I will be looking forward to having cocktails or mocktails with everybody twice a month. So I'm really excited about that. And next week, we'll be talking about these eclipses because it's big time energy. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card for everybody here. Hold on. Can't make this shit up. 420. Relax. Everybody go relax. Okay? All right, everybody. Great to be here tonight. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring